take a look. Let's double check real quick. I think we are. I'm going to take a moment to share this live video to other pages. I urge you to do the same. Just go ahead and click on the share button down below. Let's see. It is going to be around that area. And then and hit the share button. Type in some words about how to become a young working artist with clients in 5 easy steps by DTM. And as soon as you do that, then share it on your timeline, in a group if you belong to a particular group of artists or entrepreneurs, artist entrepreneurs. And so that way other people can get to see this, okay? So we're getting to the end of the year. That's it. It's a couple more days before the year's over. And it's important that artists focus and have these processes in place so that you can make 2018 successful. And no matter what level of success you reached in 2017, it is time to really focus hard on 2018 and what are you going to do that's different to give you different results in the next year. So let me start off by telling you what this video is about today. How to become a working artist with clients in 5 easy steps. It's going to sound easy, and everything anybody ever tells you as an artist, it sounds easy until it's time to do the work, right? So that's where it starts becoming easy. But it sounds easy. It's real easy to say it. It's just the work that goes into it is very, you have to learn to prioritize it and make it happen, and it's very involved. So you have to really commit. So being an artist is a successful artist, depending on what your definition of success is not an easy task. So here we go. Before I get into the 5 easy steps, which you can read on the description of the video, I'm going to tell you a quick story. And so it was 1997, a long time ago, I know. What are we now? About to be 2018, right? So 97, so that's 07. That's 20 years ago. 97. So I learned to do tattoos in 95. And in 1997, I opened a tattoo shop. It was a team of us who did it together. And I had found the investor, and I brought in other artists, including my brother-in-law, Lord Yada. He was not my brother-in-law then. And so my brother was there, Pei was there, Mecca, and then our investor, Akil, and then Lord Yada and myself. So we came into business. We launched our own tattoo shop. We opened our doors. We found a space. We got furniture. We had our equipment, and we immediately started building up clientele. We had been doing tattoos for years already at a different tattoo shop, and so we try to bring in our clientele, let them know that we were here. This is way before the internet, so it was all flyers. It was all posters. And the only way to promote yourself was to get the word out there in real life, right? So you had to really work hard at getting people to know you existed. And one of those ways was the Yellow Pages. So we were paying $1,000 and up a month to be on the Yellow Pages. And so we were doing things that we knew how to do because we had worked at a tattoo shop for 2 years before that. So all the experience that we learned at this other tattoo shop, we started applying it to our own business called Vantage Point Studios. I think the website still exists. I should have put it up there just so that you get to see who it was. Vantage Point with the E at the end of point, and then studios, there it is, .com. Vantage Point Studios. No, it went down. Nope, yep, it went down. It's still there, but I don't have any content in there. So Vantage Point Studios was our own website, and it was our own art studio. It was our own tattoo shop, and we opened it up in 1997. We did everything that we know how to do. We built a large body of clients. We were doing events once a month. We had art shows. We had poetry readings. We had celebrations. We had cookouts. By the time 2001 rolled around, we moved Vantage Point to Ponce de Leon. And we were up on the hill on Ponce de Leon in the same plaza where MJQ is. And so that's where we were for up until the end of 2005. And one thing that happened in that time is that we grew and expanded, and we're living our art life to the maximum possible ways that we knew how. And we reached a point where our business knowledge and our entrepreneur knowledge hit the ceiling. We had hit the ceiling on what we knew how to do. We stopped growing. By the time 2005 came around, we had done everything we could possibly do, but we had grown as far as we could grow organically with our own particular knowledge. Of course, the internet is not what it was not then, what it is today. So there wasn't a whole lot of resources we could find, and not too many people around that we had reached out to help us build to the next level. We saw a lot of other tattoo shops flourishing and building and becoming bigger and bigger, and for some reason we weren't on that path. So at the end of 2005, we went our own separate ways, and professionally. And so Lord Yada, he's still doing tattoos to this day. He has never stopped. He is working out of a Tri-City studio, and his art is amazing. And I went back to what I love to do, which was drawing. And now looking back 10, 12 years later, I see the path that has allowed me to grow as an artist, and that's where I'm here to talk about those lessons and what are those 5 steps. And so at this point, Loretta's has his career full grown. I have my career full grown, and it's taken some knowledge to get further and further. And some of that knowledge comes from other people. So here are my 5 steps, and where that story comes into play. All right. So here we go. So number 1 is learn to draw. So no matter which way you draw, paint, create, you should do it well. It doesn't matter if it looks pretty or looks ugly. If that's your style, then that's your style, and you do it very well, and that's the way it comes out for you, and you're satisfied with that process. So that's very important. So when I say learn to draw, you have to learn what works for you and what works for your process to tell the story that you want to tell. If the artwork that you create helps tell the story that you wish to tell, well, then that works. It may not be pretty compared to what people consider to be beautiful, beautiful aesthetic, or anatomically correct, but being anatomically correct and pretty is not a requirement for art. However, if it's hard to figure out what your artwork is, then it's going to make it that much harder for people to see the message that you're trying to share. So you have to learn how to best tell your story, tell your message with the art skills to a particular point. All right. The second thing is build your creative talent. So now we got to take how that drawings go and how that artwork tells a story, to then you build on that and have a story to tell, have something to say. So just because you know how to draw Mickey Mouse doesn't make you a particularly good artist when there's a billion other artists who can draw Mickey Mouse. It is now is about the creativity. What can you, if you're gonna draw Mickey Mouse, then how are you bringing something new? How are you telling that story about about Mickey Mouse, or what are you bringing into it that makes it unique to yourself? There is a challenge. I think it was over yesterday. SVS is by Terry. I forget his last name. And so they had a contest for drawing 4 characters, so you have to do it your way. And you have to put them outside of the Star Wars universe into a whole different dynamic. And so that's where the creative talent comes into play. It's not that can you draw Ken Loren, is can you draw Ken Loren, but in a whole different historical place, so that you bring something new to the picture. So that's what you have to focus on, is like, what story are you telling, and how can you tell it different than other people? Third part is learn the art business. If you don't know how to negotiate, you need to be with somebody who does. You need to understand what negotiating is. You need to understand how to get paid for your work. You need to understand how to talk to people. You need to understand how to respond to somebody who's asking you, oh, that looks pretty, how much for that drawing? And if you don't know how to respond for that, then you're not going to make money with your art. And I'm only talking to those artists who want to make money with your art. There's a lot of artists who are very talented who like to create and to create for themselves. All of us start that way. And then there comes a moment when you decide that, you know what, I don't want to work the job that I work on. I've been a dishwasher, I've been a forklift driver, I've been a cook. I've done a whole lot of things in my life. I've worked at a steel company. I don't want to do those things. I want to draw. I want to get paid to draw. So now that means I have to understand the business. I have to understand what my processes are for talking to a customer, bringing them in, getting them to pay me a deposit, knowing that I need to have a deposit, figuring out what my pay rate is going to be for this project, and then having the discipline to work my schedule to the point where I finish the project, get paid for the balance, and then I'm working with the next project on hand. And learning the art business also allows you to reach out and to be in communication with other clients while you're working on a project. Because what you don't want to happen is to finish the project and then you have days when you're struggling because you don't have a current project that's paying you right now, and you just and you have to lock something down, and that gets you into an imbalance where you where you have these gaps of empty time. And that's dangerous, because then you'll take any job that comes your way and it may not be paying you what you're supposed to. You undercut yourself because you don't want to go days without a project in hand that's paying you money. So the art business, the proper knowledge will allow you to put into place a process that you were working on a project while you're talking to a customer, so that by the time this project ends, you already have another customer who's coming in and filling in that right after that to get you paid. And while you're working on this project, you have another customer that you're talking to, and so on. So that way it's a string of customers, one right after the other. The number 4 thing is target your ideal customers. Everybody you know on Facebook is not going to support your business. In my Facebook circles, 90% of them are artists. I don't know people from high school. I do not know people from my job, because my job is art. And so what it is that I'm not asking them to support my projects. They're artists themselves. And they're not my customer. My customer has to afford me at a certain level of a budget. They have to have a budget of a certain point, right? And so if they don't have that budget, then they're not my customer. You have to understand who is your target and ideal customer. What money do you need to earn per week, per month, per year? What kind of projects you want to do, and how much those projects are worth, so that you find a customer that can afford that. Because just because you can draw doesn't mean that everybody you know on Facebook is going to pay you $25, $35, $100 to draw something, when 90% of those people in your circles are artists themselves. You need to go outside of that. You need to promote yourself outside of those circles. You need to go to meetups and workshops and classes and demos where you're the only artist, where you then find people who can use your services. I've been to hackathons, and I'm a big proponent of it. I haven't been to one in a few months, but when I go to hackathons, I'm the only designer there. And I offer my services for free at these hackathons in order to get to know the sponsors who can afford my pay rate, because they're the ones who I want to work with. I'm cool working with somebody starting out a business and wants a logo and a t-shirt design, but I'm more interested in working with people who have a budget for a series of t-shirt designs, who can afford my pay rate and then keep me busy for a long period of time, and then keep coming back for more and more and more illustrations. So we have to understand your ideal customer and how to target them. All right, that's 4 things. Learn to draw, build your creative talent, learn the art business, and target your ideal customers. Number 5 is the most important part, and why I told you that story early on about me, Lord Yada, Vantage Point Studios, and everybody who's working with us. You need to find a mentor. Do not jump onto this art life blindly, expecting people to just throw money at you because you somehow have some talent, or you can draw something, or because you own a computer with Photoshop in it, or because you know how to do Illustrator to some extent, and somehow people owe you money now. Being an artist is hard. It is not an easy task to choose to be an artist. It's not an easy task to choose to develop your talent, to create and explore your creativity. It's a hard choice. It's a hard life, and it's worse. I heard this somewhere. It's life is hard, and it's worse when you're stupid. I don't want to call anybody stupid. I'm not saying that. That's just a saying, right? And what happens with artists a lot is that we jump out there and we think that somehow because people keep telling us, oh, if you put this on a shirt, I would buy it. And, oh, you would make so much money if you did this as a comic book. Or you should be doing mobile games. And people throw things at you without meaning it. And so then as an artist, you jump out there and you quit your job and you buy all these art supplies or you buy these computers. And next thing you know, you pop open a t-shirt, flyers, and a website and think that somehow business is going to come your way. And you've done nothing to build that clientele. You've done nothing to build that art business. You've done nothing to build a portfolio. You've done nothing to build that body of work that's going to bring people beating down your door. A mentor will help you do all those things. And that's what made a difference in our lives as artists at the end of the Vantage Point period in my life, is that me, myself, as an entrepreneur, as a working artist, had reached the highest level of my knowledge, had reached the highest level of my art business understanding. As an entrepreneur, that's all I knew how to do, and I had reached it. That was it. I didn't know anything else. And it took me shutting down the shop, going my different path, and then finding people who were smarter than me and learning from them the art business, the entrepreneurial fundamentals, and understanding how I can apply that to my art business so then I can flourish and succeed. And a mentor will do that for you. A lot of artists out there think that school's going to make it for them. It's not. School is there to help you sharpen your skills and talent. Get your discipline together when it comes to deadlines, which is very important in the real world. But at the end of the day, you need a mentor in the art business who's going to help you figure out what's the best path for you. It's going to help you figure out what are the steps to get to define, help you figure out how to define your success and what are the steps to get you towards that success. So I say mentorship will help you prioritize this list to become an effective entrepreneur. Don't do it alone. It's a hard life and it's more difficult if you're living blindly. So don't live blindly. Don't think that going back to school or spending money in college or art schools is going to help you. Don't think that military is the answer. There's a process for everything, and in that process, some things are always included. Having a blog, having a portfolio, having a website, having a social media presence, maybe taking art classes, maybe taking classes and workshops that build and help you build your career and invest in your talent and into your career. Yes, those are some of those steps, but you have to be careful about those choices to make sure that they bring you closer towards your goals and not just things that you're doing, thinking that somehow because that worked for somebody, it's going to work for you. What has worked for me is not what's going to work for the next artist. What's worked for other artists is not what's working for me. However, there's always something that everybody is doing that may apply to what I'm trying to do. And until you define your goals, until you define what your success is supposed to be, then you'll be able to take advantage of opportunities to help build to that point. And a mentor will bring it all into focus and help guide you to how to set those things into motion and prioritize what should come first that's going to then build to the next thing that's going to build on to the next thing. That's my message for you today. It's the end of 2017. If you're doing 2017 processes in 2018, you're going to get 2017 results. And if you're doing stuff in 2017 that you did in 2016, you'll get 2016 results. What you want to do is start applying the knowledge that you're gathering from other people and start working it into your system. If you don't know where to go, if you don't know where these mentors are, if you don't know where all these people with great, awesome knowledge that are there to share it with you are, look around you. There's some links here on this video, and you can check out artistking.org, number 1. We have a free meetup every second Saturday of the month. It is free. There is no charge. What we want is to bring emerging artists, anybody who's there ready to tackle their entrepreneurship, and meet professional artists to then guide them through certain processes and definitions so that you can start applying it for yourself. And we care so much about the art community that we make that free. Just come on through. We are there. So then we also have other organizations in Atlanta that are doing just as good work in different areas. We have C4 Atlanta, Wonder Root, My Animation Life, and Asifa Atlanta. Just a few that I know of who are out here doing the same work. They are there to help you not build your career by yourself. Nobody is going to find success on their own by themselves. It is not a one-person deal. It takes many moving parts. It takes collaborations. It takes mentorship. It takes internships. It takes finding people who are greater at one particular thing that you're not, to then build together a team that's going to help you succeed. If you don't live in Atlanta, you need to start finding same organizations in your city, and they exist. They have to exist. They're out there. And if you don't see them, then start putting something together. Here's another secret. For Artist King and the podcast, that was my way of asking professional artists their processes and their life stories so I could learn from them. I made them my mentors. I wanted to grab their information and figure out how I can apply it for myself. And so I turned it into a podcast so that the rest of the world can hear the story and be inspired and put it to work. So I was not the most successful artist, and I'm still not. I'm not the best artist out there, but I started to go ahead and interview artists and then posting it. So if you don't have an organization that's bringing in professional artists to talk to emerging artists about the realities of the art life, then you start that process. You start a podcast, start going around asking the artists that you admire in your town for an hour or two of their time to ask them really deep art life probing questions, and then share it with the world. Make it a YouTube podcast so it's free. All you need is a smartphone. Set it up, sit with them, ask them questions, take that, do it YouTube live or save it to your phone and then publish it to YouTube. Start that in your own city. Start that in your own community if you don't have organizations like these that we have in Atlanta. The point is that we have to build together and work together to be smarter. Do not run around in the dark, not knowing what to do, just making moves, getting yourself into debt.